This isn't just another crypto story. What's happening right now is the evolution of global finance happening right before your very eyes. And while most will miss this, this wasn't just some random collaboration. This was Stellar choosing Zebec network. Now let that sink in. A global payment network built for institutions, cross-border finance, real-world money movement, looked at the entire landscape and chose Zebec. Because what Zebec is building doesn't exist anywhere else at this level. Zebec just isn't another crypto project. It's continuous settlement protocol, which means money doesn't move in chunks anymore. It flows second by second, block by block, in real time. Instead of waiting for 2 weeks for a paycheck, waiting days for cross-border payments, Zebec flips the model completely. Money becomes streaming infrastructure. You work, you get paid instantly. A service runs, money moves automatically. That's not an upgrade. That's a new financial paradigm. Now step back and look at Stellar. Stellar has spent years positioning itself as one of the most reliable payment rails in the world. We're talking near instant settlement, ultra low fees, built specifically for cross-border finance, trusted by institutions and financial entities globally. Stellar's entire mission has been simple: move money better than the traditional system. So when Stellar looks to expand, when it looks to evolve beyond just sending payments, when it wants to unlock the next phase of financial infrastructure, it needed something new. Not another wallet. No, not another token. It needed programmable money. And that's where Zebec comes in. Because Zebec doesn't just move money, it controls how money behaves. So now, combine the two: Zebec, the logic layer; Stellar, the global settlement layer. And what you get is something much bigger than a partnership. You get real-time, programmable, borderless finance. Let's make this real. Imagine a company operating across multiple countries. Right now, they deal with payroll delays, currency conversion fees, compliance friction. But with Zebec integrated into Stellar, payments happen instantly. Funds move globally in seconds. Costs drop to near zero. And payroll becomes continuous. Not weekly, not bi-weekly, continuous. Now think about the worker. No more waiting, no more delays. You get paid as you work, in real time, with full control over your money. That's not just convenience. That's financial empowerment at a global scale. And this is exactly why Stellar chose Zebec. Because this isn't just about improving payments, it's about redefining them. We're entering the era of PayFi, where payments are programmable, finance is always on, and money moves like data. So let's talk about the impact for Zebec network. This is massive validation, because when a network like Stellar, with its reputation, its infrastructure, and institutional reach, chooses to build with you, that sends a message. Zebec isn't just some experiment anymore. Zebec is infrastructure. It opens the door to institutional adoption, which we know is coming, global payment corridors, real-world scalability, and it puts ZBCN right at the center of that flow. For Stellar, this is evolution, because now Stellar isn't just a payment rail, it becomes part of programmable financial system. It gains a new category in transactions, which is streaming payments, increased network activity, a stronger position in the future of finance. And when you zoom all the way out, this is where it all connects. The financial system is shifting from the old world, which is delays, batch processing, and middlemen, to the new world, real-time settlement, continuous payments, programmable money. And the stack is forming right now. Zebec defines how money flows. Stellar defines where money flows. And stablecoins define what money is. So don't look at this as some simple headline. Stellar partners with Zebec. No, this is a global payment network choosing its next evolution, a validation of streaming finance at scale. and the foundation for how money will move in the next decade and beyond. And the craziest part, while most people still think this is just another crypto announcement, it's not. It's infrastructure. It's adoption. It's the future being built right in front of you. This is Zebec Nation. Let's go.
Zebec Nation. Zebec Nation, tap in, lock in. I'm on deck, all signal, no distortion. Hot news, breaking code, truth audited. From protocol to the population, compliance coordinated. Talk fast, think faster, headlines detonate. Builders, whales, insiders resonate. No filler, no filter, no scripted fabrication. Real-time execution, verified information. Payroll to power, global circulation. Deep dives, lifelines, market calibration. It's like Nation. You want the pulse? You're tuned in. Zebec Nation.
Welcome to the Zebec Nation podcast. Your home for everything Zebec Network, ZBCN, crypto news, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. I'm your host, ZBCN Man. And before we get started, and I introduce my other co-host this evening, if this is your first time watching us, please sub to us. Hit that sub button, the notification bell, leave us a comment, and please share this with all your friends and family. So without further ado, let's get started. Joining me tonight, I've got 314 Crypto, Throbbing Lantern, and Zebec Samurai as well with us, cutting it up. And our community member spotlight of the week. It's been a while. We've been trying to get him on. He's tough to get a hold of. No, we're just kidding. Crypto Star Rail, what's up, man? Thank you for staying up very late where you are and joining us. We're so glad to have you with us.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
big fan, bro. Big fan. I appreciate everything you do for the community, brother. We love it.
Thank you. I lose a lot of sleep to do these type of videos, but gotta take one for the team.
And we appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, Samurai's been telling me you've had a lot of conversations lately. He's learned a lot about you. So we're looking to learn more about you tonight. And it's a pleasure to have you with us and all your knowledge of crypto and you going through cycles before and bringing that knowledge to our podcast. We truly appreciate that. So it was a huge week for Zebec Network. A lot of things happened. The biggest thing that happened this past week was the Stellar Lumens and Zebec Network partnership. Huge deal. Stellar is one of those companies that's been around for a very long time. Obviously, everyone knows their story and where they came from, and there's a ton of XLM holders out there. So huge for the Zebec community to be a part of such a big partnership. And so thoughts on that. So 314, what are your thoughts on that new partnership between Stellar and Zebec Network?
Yeah, man. Well, starting off, you kind of just hit it on the head. You talk about the notoriety alone that, that Zebec Network is going to get, from this partnership, specifically with it being more public and a deeper integration, with the partnership itself. When you think global payments, you think of Ripple, and right there is Stellar Lumens, and they have a huge following, huge base, and it just shows that Zebec is here to stay. You start opening it up to real big TradFi banks, talking about US Bank, and you got MoneyGram, you start talking about these big institutions that now we're integrating with, and it's just going to make it to where there's just going to be so much price explosion. I don't think people understand how big this is. But no, I'm super excited about it. If you guys saw the Cybos conference, you knew that this was coming. We thought it was going to happen sooner, but now it's here, and now we're ready to take off. Let's go.
Well, I can tell you I'm ready.
Go ahead. Samurai, what's your thoughts?
I'm just going to say, I'm ready for the market to kick off. I'm ready for clarity to get past. I'm ready to show the world what our technology can do to better the lives of, everybody around, not just first world, but third world. wherever you're from. I mean, this is going to really revolutionize the standard of living. I still can't wrap my head around people only getting paid once a month. Like, I don't know how you even can live. How can you save? How can you build your future on that type of timeline? So I think Zebec is going to do big things, and you can already see the foundation being built right now as we speak.
Yeah, so Stellar built the system, Ripple already built the system too, and they're just plugging Zebec right into it. So Ripple and Stellar, they basically have already been leading in cheap, fast payments, but now they're getting continuous payments. So that's just a whole different level to the game. The world is going to be taken over by Zebec network because everyone is their sales engine.
You're absolutely right. Hey, Star Rail, so you do a lot of videos on a lot of these subjects. And so I'm always interested to see your thoughts on this, on all these partnerships that come up. So what are your thoughts on that Stellar Zebec network partnership?
I mean, we knew it was coming. You know, they've been partnered with Stellar for about over a year now, and I've listened to a lot of their spaces. And I made a video like about ten days before, because I was like thinking like the bigger picture of things, because like I listen to a lot of things, and like I just knew that payroll was like the starting point, and to proper expand into like a global network, that global remittance kind of made sense. And like, everything kind of linked to like the super app, and there's no surprise that like the token unlock happened, and then now they've got the super app, and now they've got like the real use case of like, streaming payroll, and then expanding to like global remittances as well, and like sending money to family and friends, and you can spend it all in the super app. So it's just the right step in the right direction, and I thought it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, and kind of going back 314, I think we talked about this a little bit, and I'm gonna let you go with it because I know where you're going. I think maybe, but you just look at the Stellar, who is within that Stellar ecosystem itself. Like you touched on it, MoneyGram, but then we have what is the bank? It's ICIC Bank, just another bank. So you can go into that.
No, yeah. And I'm sure people saw whenever they had made this announcement, the white labeled app, for Stellar in their ecosystem, and they saw the list of, blockchains that was on there. It said stake Bitcoin. I'm just so excited for these other blockchains that when they get these white labeled, cards and these apps that they can use, that they can truly see our utility and our technology, all in real time. Because who doesn't want to get paid in real time? Everybody wants to have access to the paycheck. The pay cycle scheme and the fail of the old legacy systems it's over. This is the new era of finance, and Zebec is plugging into almost every blockchain, and it's starting with Stellar Lumens. So let's go, man.
Let's go. You're absolutely right, man. Huge, huge, huge.
But I heard Zebec had no utility and it was a scam. What happened to that? That's what I've been hearing.
ZVCN has all the utility. We've killed this one. We beat the dead horse. But once again, when the new tokenomics was released in January, and Simon talked about this, the reason why they did this is because they knew the direction we were headed going into this year with the white labels. He knew that companies that wanted to access Zebec Network's ecosystem had to use ZBCN, and therefore they knew the token unlocks would be finished by March the 16th, and then we would become deflationary, and so then that's when you see the price will start going up. And we're in a lot of turmoil right now, and the markets are kind of iffy, but there's very little doubt in my mind that the markets as a whole are going to flourish as we get later into this year.
Yeah, man. And to piggyback off that, people are like, why would they want to hold a token? Even if they hold stable coins, they had an auto conversion model that requires people to use a token. So no matter what, if you hold a stable coin or if an institution holds a stable coin, ZBCN is still going to get used. It's just,
Every time.
I was going to say, sorry, and like the more the streaming payrolls use it, like reduces the fee as well. But like I said, like I think I wrote this down as well. I think they've burnt over like 200 million ZBCN tokens with the buybacks, because obviously, the more people use the cards and the revenue generated goes into token buybacks. But you've got to think like, you know, 100 billion tokens is still quite a lot. So like 200 million is quite minimal. But like as the increased utility comes, like I think MoneyGram has over like 50 million like customers, and like in the Stellar network they have like over like 400,000 on and off ramps as well. And they've got like all these institutional partnerships as well, like Franklin Templeton as well. And like I said, it's just the Stella's been around for years, you know, and they're the ISO 2022. They were like one of the first crypto firms to get ISO 2022. So it makes sense why like Zebec would go for them, kind of like the leaders of like global remittances. But as like time goes by, we know that, you know, there's been talks about expanding to the XRP ledger, but it's all about like Rails. You know, you hear that quite a lot. Like Zebec is like the infrastructure layer that kind of connects everything, and they're going to plug into all these different ecosystems because they've developed this technology in the start. And it's all just to kind of like bring more volume into the super app. That's what I'm thinking, right? Everything's kind of leading to their super app. So if you know if they can, with this like stable coin boom, like at the moment it's like 300 billion market cap right now. I'm sure it's going to get to like the $1 trillion market cap. And like I said, you know, with the real use case of stablecoin payroll, you've got like, you know, USDC with the backing of Circle. They've got the All Unity stablecoin. And we've got like other stablecoins, which I will like discuss later on, because like I made a video about Zelle as well, that Zelle wants to go into stablecoins as well. And I heard that Simon wants to like integrate like the Zelle stablecoin into the super app as well. So like, you know, the floodgates is like going to open, and it's just like the more Zebec is used and like the card products, like the more revenue, that just leads to more like token burning. But like I said, we can question about like token burning and stuff like that. It kind of does something minimal, but I think that does drive the, you know, the utility of the token. Sorry to like put so much into there, but
Oh, bro,
No, that's
whoa.
perfect, man. I love it.
People have to understand, you know, what it is that they're doing, and they're very open and honest as far as their approach with the M&A spaces. So what we're talking about is stuff that people can see with their own eyes. Man, it's crazy because, you know, we're talking about payroll, and again, payroll is not the only utility. You know, we could talk about Canton Network, and again, the first Mastercard debit card, you know, through Lattice. Oh man, it's just it's so much that you could talk about with the utility. You know, I talked about in my last segment the agentic economy and talking about AI payments and how that market within the next 5 years could get up to 5 trillion. And most of the stable coins is being used as USDC, you know? So yeah, man, we can keep going about that utility word. And now that we have officially publicly partnered with Stellar Lumens, it's just going to bring all the eyes, and you know, people are just going to continue to use the products.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Zebec Network has these old Twitter posts up from like 2020, 21, 22, and 23, and they're talking about how you can literally pay for music by the second, movies by the second, work out by the second, and people think it's just for payroll. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it's much larger than just payroll. And we and again, another horse that we've beat dead, but there was a switch, especially whenever you go back to the NHL and the NBA promotions that Zebec was doing in the arenas. When you read the advertisements, they didn't just say real time streaming payroll; they said real time streaming payments. It's a huge difference from just payroll, and I think even within our own community, a lot of people still don't understand that. They think that Zebec is just about payroll. It's much bigger than just payroll. You're really limiting. I mean, payroll in itself is huge, but why limit yourself in just payroll? And they're clearly
You're talking about continuous settlement. You know, like I said, micro payments, micro transactions. You know, that literally flows into most everything. Talk about subscription. Like you just said, we're beating a dead horse, but the good thing is people are able to listen to people like us, go and do their own research and see, you know, what really the use cases are and how it flows in just different economies. But yeah, no, other than payroll, it's just so many other use cases. And again, you got the likes of Stellar Lumens, you got the Canton Networks, you got the World Liberty Financials, you got the Deutsche Banks, you know, you have the 20 blockchains that we're already integrated with, the Aleos. I mean, I can keep going down the list, but it's for everybody to see. You know, this is an exciting journey. And I'm glad that we're able to educate these people on it. But dude, It's about to explode. We haven't even hit price discovery. We haven't even got Binance yet. We haven't even got Robinhood yet. And some of our backers come from these same institutions, and people think that it's not coming. It's coming.
Yeah, definitely. Samurai, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just I know Sam was about to say something. I was gonna say like yeah, like I said, payroll was the starting point. And I think Zebec's main goal is to like use their products in the real world. So obviously like with the spending, but then like I've just looked at my notes here. I remember uh, you know, it's not really talked about a lot, but like they had like an Undo partnership, and I've heard in like one of their spaces that I made a video about it as well, about how they have like three stable coins, but like the main one is like USDY, where you can earn yield by like doing nothing, like no extra steps, right? And that I know that Simon has said that they want to put Ondo onto their super app, so you can start earning stablecoin yields onto the super app as well. And not only that, I think he said that it kind of opens the doors for like tokenized stocks as well. So like I said, we can get into that as well. But
Man, let's
you know,
go. Let's go. So Simon had went on Dash's interview. They did a Dash interview, and Simon talked about the super app doing things that have never been done before. So when you talk about a DCA, meaning you stream your payroll right in a stable coin. So when you get paid in a stable coin, it takes away the volatility of the asset that it is that you want to buy. But in real time, they can issue what's called a DCA via smart contract that'll allow you to buy whatever asset that you want. And specifically, it could be an S&P 500. So if you want to buy, let's say NVIDIA, okay, you get paid in payroll. And because you have an AI agent, you can just say, hey, take 5% of my paycheck and put it into this, or put into this ETF. I mean, it's a game changer. You talk about being able to just have financial products right in front of you and take advantage of it. I mean, dude, um, that's crazy. But that's something that actually I'm going to show people, because that's a real life video, and I think people did not see it. And if they didn't see it, they got to watch it.
Absolutely.
What video are you talking about?
That's an interview with Dash where Simon was talking
Yes.
about, dude, he was talking about so much. And the guy from Dash was talking about, if I wanted to get paid in Dash, kind of how that would work, and you can't really get paid in an asset. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one thing that people don't understand. You don't want to get paid in an asset that could obviously go to zero. You get paid in stable coins. And then you have a smart contract that DCAs that, and allows you to, you know, take whatever asset you want and, just convert it that way. But yeah, no, I got it in my next segment as well. But
Awesome.
Excited for that.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Samurai, what were you going to say before?
Well, 314 said it like right after.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Oh man. So perfect segue into something else, I think. And that is with the white labels that are coming up. We know there's a partnership coming also with Ripple and XRP, and we believe that's going to be related to Ripple's bank. That's pretty much a far gone conclusion. Don't you think, Robbie?
Definitely. It's destiny. We've just been waiting for it for a year since Simon said last year that they had talks with Ripple, but they didn't want to confirm anything. And then they gave us, I mean, you can bleep this out. They gave us blue balls, and then now we're here today and we're a month away.
Keep the blue balls in.
Yeah, sorry.
We're
bro,
keeping that in.
Uphold was talking about it too with the direct deposit. You telling me you gave us direct deposit where we can get XRP, World Mobile, and Zebec, and then there's not anything that's going to come out about that? Like, that's crazy. Come on now.
Oh yeah. I mean, me last month alone, and I think I showed you guys, but I received like 240 something bucks worth of XRP last month that I obviously sold into ZBCN. I also showed you that, but it's like the best thing ever. You just throw part of your paycheck in and you just get free money. It's like who would want to stick with a traditional bank when you're able to earn such a nice yield just by putting money into an account? Makes total sense, and I'm gonna start putting more in. But I'm also gonna start putting more money into my new Tangem wallet. Another thing that's happened since the last time we were on, the Zebec logoed Tangem wallets were released. And we kind of mentioned this before, and we'll go into more detail and I'll post about this. But we're going to give away this Tangem wallet right here. It's never been opened, it's brand new. We're going to give this away to a lucky fan, person who watches our videos. And I'm going to give you some rules as to what you have to do to get this, but that's going to be coming up soon. So that's pretty exciting. It is my first cold wallet I've ever had, actually. That's a fact, 100%. I keep my crypto on exchanges. Thank you. I
Let's go.
appreciate
Let's
that.
go.
I'm finally getting with the rest of the world, I guess. Uh, so I've always kept my crypto on different exchanges, and one of them is crypto.com. And eventually I moved over to Uphold and some others. I've done Coinbase and all of them, but crypto.com and Zebec also just announced something pretty cool. And whoever wants to go on that, go into it. Tell us more about it.
Tax-free IRA accounts. Let's go. Throbbing. Go ahead, my boy.
I was just gonna say that now you can invest your Roth IRA into ZBCN, tax free. Boom, swag. Drop the mic.
So just touching on that and how big that is, right? So you talk about 100% of the supply going away. Now people holding the token specifically for 20, 30, 40 years. That's just going to comply. This is supply shock waiting to happen. You mean you literally got buybacks happening from the car products being used. You got staking. You got some burns. You got now retirement accounts. Like, that's crazy because that's just people holding the supply and they probably won't even sell. I mean, some of them are going to forget and there's no more supply being made. So, that's so big for the community, man. And specifically at this point in time, before we even get into clarity and all the money start coming in, man, it's a killer. It's crazy. No, man, it seems to be very strategic at all these things that's going on. And it's coming all around the same time frame where the mobile app's coming out. Like you just mentioned, Starro just mentioned, 100% of the supply is, already out there. The white labels, Stellar partnership, the Canton network entry through the Lattice partnership. It just seems like everything's ramping up. This is not the right time to FUD. This is the right time to accumulate.
Yeah, absolutely. And piggybacking off of that, I believe that we are at the last week of the month of March, and they said that the iOS and the Android versions of the said SuperApp would be coming out, which is huge. Like, everyone's waiting on them. I mean, the desktop version's cool, but I mean, everyone's waiting to get their hands on that mobile app. I'm pretty sure of it. So there's going to be a lot of hype this week, I believe.
What kind of features do you think, like speculatively, like what do you think of your theories of, like, we know there's going to be like a messaging system, right? Is that that's what a lot of people
there's
were
going to be an
thinking.
internal messaging system that's how do you say it?
Encrypted?
Yeah, encrypted. Sorry. Yeah, I can't remember what the company's called, but they definitely announced that like within the last month or two.
Really? Okay.
Another thing that's happened since our last conversations on here on the flagship, the X Money thing was announced, and it's, I guess, the beta right now for a lot of influencers, and they're trying to raise some money, but it's fiat based.
Well, I thought that was going to be based on XRP. That's what I kept hearing.
I'm hearing it's Solana, right?
Oh,
Yeah, everything built
maybe
on
that's why-
Solana for sure.
Well, maybe that's why they said, it's a big week for Solana.
That's
Guess we'll
true.
see.
That's true.
So wasn't there a tweet that was put out by Solana
Like
about
today.
this?
Are you talking about the big week coming up, or about
No,
what, X Money on Solana?
the X Money
Yeah,
on Solana.
they talked about that like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
And then they pulled that tweet.
Yeah, they pulled that tweet. I mean, you talk about all the payment infrastructures, the big conglomerates all coming in on Solana. Obviously it's the fastest or one of the fastest, one of the cheapest, to interact on. And then you talk about the max transactions per second. I mean, Solana just seems to be the go-to blockchain for payments. And if Elon Musk is talking about all the money, why would you not, incorporate crypto? And then when you do incorporate crypto, you can't just not look at Zebec Network, who is the only crypto payroll company in the Nacho Alliance that can transact microtransactions, continuous settlement. If you have Stellar Lumens and you have XRP all migrating to Zebec network, who else is going to be doing this in X money? There's no other route. All directions lead to Zebec network.
Zebec network.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you said that perfectly, bro. Nasha Alliance, and then there's NatPay that plugs them into FedNow, which is there's no competition. It's disgusting.
Bro,
Zero.
World Liberty chose Zebec. Who do you think is very close to Elon?
It's
We have so
insane.
many close to Elon ties. We got World Mobile and Starlink. We got, Donald Trump and obviously Elon, Jim Breyer and Elon. Like, it's crazy, bro. USDC alone is one of the most used stable coins, and Starlink uses USDC. Not that they take payments via USDC, but like that the stable coin is what they essentially use if they can't accept fiat. So, man.
And
It's
AI
crazy.
agents only use USDC, right? Or did I make
Correct.
that up in my head? Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, most of the transactions that AI agents use is USDC. It's the largest regulated stablecoin. Obviously, USDT is a bigger stablecoin, but most of the economy, most of these payment systems are using USDC, including Stripe, including Stellar, including some of your favorite blockchains.
What do you think, Starro?
Swag.
I mean, like I said earlier, it's just about, we hear it a lot, like, building the rails to plug into. And like speaking about Stripe as well, I think because of that partnership with, well, there's the Privy wallet, which is just a wallet, right? And again, it all links to the Super app. Stripe does about, I think it's like 1.4 trillion a year, right? And like I said, in the Super app, like with the Privy wallet, it just gives access to people that don't have a wallet to plug into the Super app so they can open the doors of like the Stripe ecosystem so they can do like payouts and streaming. And like I said, 1.4 billion, no, trillion dollars a year with the Stripe ecosystem. So like I said, we've got, kind of like Zelle mentions with their stable coin. We've got like Ondo and we've got Stripe,
PayPal. Keep it going.
just everything, So like I said, it's like everything is all like plugging together. And I think, like I said, there's no such thing as coincidences with like, the token and the full circulating supply. It's like it was kind of like a lot of the fear with Zebec was like, the token unlocks because no one really likes the unlocks, right? And I've mentioned this in my videos that like, that narrative's starting to fade, and now everyone's kind of talking about, what is the utility of ZBCN? And now we've seen like all these partnerships all like coming together, especially like the Stellar partnership as well, like plugging into global remittance as well. So like I said, guys, everything's all falling into the right place. And like I said, there's so many things to talk about, like we can name like millions of partnerships, say like with Throw, said with like NatPay, they process about like $170 billion a year, and that which is plugged into FedNow, which is like the Federal Reserve Bank. And you know what I mean? Like we can go on, we can go on like, like Assure as well, which is like a top 20 payroll company. It's not like an ADP, but you've got to think that, there's a name, Lisa Robbins, if you've heard, is like,
Yeah.
or was a CFO of ADP. And like I've been listening to like Simon a lot, like a lot of his interviews is that apparently Lisa Robbins was the reasons why they got PGP, one of their subsidiaries. And like if it weren't for her, a lot of these partnerships wouldn't have mattered. And she's got like over 50 years in the payroll business, and she was a CFO of ADP. So like I said, like with the Sure, it's like a top 20 payroll processor, not an ADP, but they're getting close to that, US based company as well.
Yeah.
It's all
No, you're
without
right.
DTCC. That's all without talking about DTCC.
DTCC, I was gonna plug into that because like obviously guys, there's no surprise that like I talk about Canton, and like I know people get like the eye rolls when I talk about Canton. So, oh god, it's talking about Canton again.
Talk about it.
One of my videos I explained that the DTCC wants to tokenize about $100 trillion of US treasuries onto blockchain rails, right? There's not going to be, you've heard of the name Nadine Chark, which Simon has met, like one of the head of the DTCC, right? And the DTCC handles like quadrillions of dollars every single year. I think in 2024 they did about 3.7 quadrillions, which is what a 15, 16 digit number. Like if you wrote it down, it's like this long. And now, like I said, that's happening in the second half of 2026, around like July, and they're starting with the Canton network. But there's another crypto project that they are tokenizing assets as well, which is Layer Zero, and Nadine has kind of like hinted, because there's not going to be enough volume that can handle like all of that, right? $100 trillion worth through their platform of Composer X. They've mentioned like Sui. They mentioned Stella. She's said it under her breath. But we kind of know like Ethereum's going to be on there. I'm pretty sure like XRP is going to be on there, and like there'll probably be like 10 to 20 different like blockchains, right? But like I said, that's starting on the second half of 2026. So everything's kind of turning into like tokenizing assets, and like it kind of could link to the super app because like as like you got payroll, you got global remittance, maybe cross-border payments, and maybe like tokenized stocks, commodities can all be in that super app as well. But like I said, everything is going to get to a point where like everything is all on your mobile phone. So you can see like the scale of where like this is going. And if you compare like the crypto market cap right now, which is like what, 2.5 trillion, you compare it to like stocks, which is like 180 trillion. We're like a little blimp, and then like stocks are right up there. But as the thing is with crypto, right, it's still kind of like a gray area. Like there's not a lot of regulation yet, especially when I was around in 2021, where like Ripple got sued by the SEC. Like it was a very gray area, like the regulation. But now I like this quote: "Don't listen to what they say, listen to what they do."
Yeah.
Now they were talking bad about like crypto, like it's unregulated, used for like the black market. No one's going to use it, right? And then look at the conversations we're having now, like DTCC, like the largest market infrastructure in the world that settles quadrillions, wants to tokenize real world assets, starting with the Canton network, but like it's going to flow into like the winners of the in crypto. So there's that as well. But like I said, Simon has met Nadine. Obviously, I wouldn't think that they're talking about like tea and biscuits. I'm pretty sure they're talking about.
They might be.
I'm pretty sure they're talking about
biscuits.
I'm pretty sure they're talking about tokenization. It would make sense. Like, don't be silly. But yeah, there's that as well. I kind of lost my train of thought because
Oh, no, you're good, brother. We can keep this going. You mentioned,
I mean, it goes deeper than that. Go ahead, 314.
you mentioned Lisa Robbins, and ADP, and you talked about PGP, and PayBridge is really what kicked this all off. I mentioned this before, but when you acquire PayBridge, you you acquire payroll companies, and you're the leading payroll company for US charter schools. You're paying teachers, you're paying teachers and giving them the option to take, pay in stable coins, employees, different industries, and people to understand that Zebec's not coming out of nowhere, and they just are just saying, hey, we're just going to do stablecoin payroll. They're doing it already, and people don't even know about it. which is a crazy thing. When these enterprises are coming for Zebec, they want results. They want someone who's have skin in the game, and it's right there, man. It's right there.
And I can go into this too, and I know this firsthand because in the last month, and I've told you guys about this too, but we've had some mandatory meetings that involved ADP and Lyric. And Lyric is the AI side of what ADP is doing, and that's going to handle your whole everything from HR, and I believe it's also going to handle payroll. And the reason why I believe it's going to handle payroll is every day as a director, I have to go in and I have to actually tick off boxes to ensure that people are clocking in and out at specific times that they're scheduled for. And so I think that's going to lead to a streaming payroll. And I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people think. And I've been telling my employees this, that it's coming. They're going to let those AI agents. And I think ADP is going to tap into Zebec network to handle that. And they already have a Wisely card that they use. So somehow they're going to integrate that Wisely card into Zebec, I believe. and I'll know more soon because I have 2 more mandatory meetings I have to attend, and I'm gonna continuously learn more stuff about where this is going. So it's pretty huge. ADP being one of the largest payroll companies in the United States. So it's
Swag.
huge. Swag. So, kind of getting into a few more things here. Remember to like and subscribe. It just came up on the screen there. Great work. Great work, Samurai. Remember to like and subscribe. Thumbs up. Hit that notification bell if you like what you're seeing. I just want to give a shout out to a couple guys that aren't here tonight. I want to shout out Patriot Party, who's not with us tonight. Huge shout out to you, brother. We love you. Heavy hitter 360. He's been kind of under the weather lately, so I want to give a huge shout out to him as well. Devin was fighting traffic to get home. He's probably still fighting traffic, like it's the TSA, and so he's held up probably right now somewhere. So huge shout out to those guys. Who else do I leave out?
Captain Zach.
Captain Zach. He texted us earlier. He got called into work, so he's unable to join us tonight as well. So I just want to send my love out to those guys and appreciate everything they do in the community. And speaking of community, our community member spotlight of the week. This is one of the things that we love doing on our podcast, on the flagship podcast here. We love to show love to members of the crypto community that do a great job at spreading news about what's going on in crypto. So without further ado, once again, our community member spotlight of the week is Crypto Star Rail. Boom, there he is once again. So Star Rail, what we normally do here is we kind of go around and we find out a little bit more about you. So this is where it gets real uncomfortable for you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm go for it. Like, is it Q&A?
No. I heard a story and I want to know a little bit more about this. And thanks to Samurai for giving me this one. So I'm going to lead. And then you guys can just jump in wherever you want to. Before you got into crypto, I know you did really well in crypto back in the day, and you're an OG in crypto. But before you got into crypto, what did you do? Because now you're a YouTuber.
God, where do I start? Like, I've been like up and down in a lot of things. I used to be a personal trainer. I think people would be surprised by that. I was a personal trainer for 2 years, and I used to teach women's fitness classes, right? And with my type of personality as well, I'm very introverted. So like me, like putting on like a camera, and especially like teaching a class of like 20, 30 women, at 19, that was a very like intimidating experience,
That sounds intense.
what I'm trying to get with that is that like I've been in a lot of uncomfortable situations, but like the only way to kind of overcome that is to kind of just be in that situation and do it like multiple times. But after that, because like COVID happened, and sorry, the question was like you wanted to know like what I used to do before crypto, or like why did I get into crypto?
Yeah. So what was your job right before crypto? And what got you into crypto? There you go. I should have done better with the question.
It was personal training, but then like I've said to Samurai that I used to work on the railway. You like call it the railroad, right? And that type of work is very, very tough to do because like trains, dealing with trains is a very dangerous job. And I used to do, you might not believe me, but I used to do a 6 to 8 hour drive every single day, and then a 10 to 12 hour shift. So I used to work like 20 hours every day, 60 hours, 60, 70 hours a week. And it's kind of personal because like, yeah, yes, yeah, I know some of you, like, especially like ZBCN, man, you've seen like some photos of like some stuff I made in like 2021, but like I actually got kind of burnt as well because I made money, but there's a dark side to crypto as well where people don't talk about. Like, I round tripped a lot of gains, and I had to go back to work, right? And I did this for 2 years, right? And like I said, I did a 6 to 8 hour drive every single day. I mean, like three and a half hours there, but there and back. and I did anything for money, right? And uh, you know, with the type of blue collar lifestyle, like I rarely had like a life, you know, especially someone in their mid-20s, right? You know, I'm meant to be like partying and stuff, but I'm out here like chasing what like what a round trip, right? And I got promoted quite quickly because I'm quite reliable. I turn up to work every single day. I used to pick up like four or five people every single day, like to their houses, and that's why it would take so long. Like pick up everyone, go to work, do 10, 12 hours, and then drive back. And then like I would always be like so tired, right? Because no one had a license. I was the only one with a license, right? And like I had like perks, like a free van and like free fuel card, but like, you know, I didn't really have a life. So I got promoted to like it was called a controller of site safety, which is like you know, with trains, like it's quite dangerous, right? And everyone needs a controller of site safety. They call them a COS, right? And like it's the job is basically like, I'm responsible for keeping everyone alive because you know you got to like with trains it's very dangerous. It's pre-planned. There's like you know electricity as well, like 750 DC and like 12,000, 25,000 AC. You know, you do work with electricity, you work with like heavy machinery, and like I did that for 2 years, right? I did day shifts and then I did night shifts. And the reason when I quit was I was DCing every week, by the way. I was earning some good money. I was DCing every week. And uh there's a personal story. Like the first shift I ever did, right? I had to shovel like it's called ballast, right? Which is stone on the track. And I did that. You're just shoveling stone and like for like 8 hours straight. And then that was a huge shock. And that was the reality of like, man, I can't stay here forever, right? And I met someone, which we'll go back to later on, of why I quit as well. Because obviously there's stuff like, you know, like cutting rail, where you get like a 20 kilo like rail saw and you saw it and then like, all that sparks coming in your face. And then every time I would blow my nose after every shift, this color, right? Every time I blow my nose. So like all the stuffs, all the carcinogenics I used to breathe in. And coming back to that thing where I said like my first shift, right? Because I did the driving for like 4 hours there and back, right? You know, driving tired is so dangerous, guys. I used to be on like 3 to 6 Red Bulls every single day, right? And like in the UK, right, there's signs on the motorway that says like, you know, tiredness kills, right? And I never really thought about it until like it's actually happened. And you kind of like when you're driving, right, when you're tired, you're like, you just go to sleep and then you don't realize. And back to the story of my first shift, right? I found out that that this person died driving when he was driving as well. And I was thinking, man, like, you know, he was just going home to his family, like, because of what happens, right? Not to like get into too much detail, like they kind of book you into hotels, but because like you're with your rail group, they call them a gang, right? You're with your gang, um you're with them more than your family. And like I was living with someone at the time, and like, I was away more like into work rather than like seeing this person.
Yeah.
And like I know that person in my first shift who died, he crashed the van and he snapped his neck. And then I was just thinking like, man, what happens if this could be me? Because like, I've nearly fallen asleep on the wheel as well. And you know, it was so disgusting at the time because all the company ever cared about was that they covered themselves,
Yeah.
right? So because they book hotels, right, technically legally, you know, they're covered. So like they'll just say, oh, he shouldn't have drove back. But it's just like that system of like someone above you making more money saying like, no, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I just said like, I know I'm not meant to swear, but I said this, you know, oh, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
I'm DCing a coin called Casper, and Casper went to like 20 cents, and I was just like, man, all right, see you later. You know, someone who's proper reliable goes to work every single day. I was like, see you later, and then I just disappeared, which was very confusing to them. But the personal things, but like I just never took life for granted after that. I was just knew that, man, like one day I could just drive and get killed like that. because I've nearly done it a few times. Like I've nearly lost my fingers. I've nearly like blinded myself a few times. There's lots of dangerous stories, but it's quite a unique story, right? I've been through it's very unique when I talk about like, yeah, I used to build train tracks, right? And it was kind of like an inspiration of my name, but like obviously it's kind of inspired from a game called Honkai Star Rail, but
Yeah.
all kind of links, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the personal story of why, like, I did my job. But end of the day, guys, I came to do crypto because I enjoy it. And I saw people. I've always used to be like the youngest one, and I'm always like I used to be a rugby player as well, right? I used to compete for like first team, and like I'm so used to like people who are way older than me, and I'm like kind of like the underdog. And people would always like look down at me just because of like just your age, And like I said, I like this quote, right? It's not about bringing your name; it's about bringing your game, right? So I like to put in a lot of effort into what I do, and crypto is very passionate to me because like it's kind of a. I will get more into detail with like more questions. It's something I enjoy, and like with the rail, I was earning more money. Yes, cool. But I was building someone else's dream, and there's this pyramid scheme which I didn't really agree with. Whereas, when I turn on the lights and I wear like the outfit, it's kind of like it's kind of stupid, but like it's fun. I feel like your inner child should never die. And when you enjoy something, you have more passion. And I hope it like shows in the videos that like, look, guys, like I'm here for the long run. And if you're passionate about something, it's more likely you're going to stick to it. And I just said to myself, like, look, working for someone else is just pure slavery. Like, I've been in the rail, I've done all the manual stuff. Like, this isn't life. You work there for 50 years, then retire, and then like you got like 5 or 6 years left to live. And like everyone who worked in the rail, right, were like 60 odd.
And broken.
Yeah, like all divorced, like some sort of family problem, and like they just looked miserable. And it didn't matter how much like money they made. I don't think that's freedom. I think like building something like this, like what we're doing now, this is why I like crypto, is a way to kind of like escape the system. Because like why should we be working so hard for the people above you that are making twice as much money, right? Oh yeah, someone just died. Oh, it doesn't matter, we'll replace you. Like that's just so disgusting, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm here to build my own dream like the rest of you here. And I want to do that as young as possible. Like it's a risk, of course. Like what is life without risk, right? You got to take that risk. And I want to see I want to be the example of like, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm putting in like, no, because I did the 20 hours a day, like this is why I still incorporate that in my video. And that's what I'm trying to show. Like I feel like with the universe, right? I like this quote as well. I love quotes here. Life is like a game of boomerangs, right? So like you toss it out and it comes back, and it's what I'm trying to say is the energy you give out is the energy that comes back.
Absolutely.
How you treat others is how you'll eventually be treated. What you say about others is what will be said about you. So it's like, what you put in is what you get out. So I feel like with what I'm doing, with the effort, it's gonna all come back, and it's not gonna be for nothing. And I don't know if that was the question.
No,
But
that's really good. One of the things, I'm gonna let someone else ask a question here, but one of the things that you touched on was the people that work so hard at building infrastructure and miss out on so much with their families. And I think that's pretty sad that the people that put in the most work into trying to build the things that we take for granted every day are the ones that miss out the most with their loved ones. So kudos to you for doing what you did, man, and getting out of it. And now you put together great videos for us to all see. So who else has a question?
I have a question. So most people just see the 15 minutes of your video, and we relate a little bit together on this. And give us like a little summary of what you have to go through and like the time and effort you got to put into making these videos that people don't see.
I mean, like just for this example, just like with this podcast, like, I came prepared, right? I wrote loads of notes, And that's the first step, right? It's the research. Uh, this is a full-time job, guys. It's like 70 hours a week, right? But like I said, like, I have passion and like I like doing it anyway because I know, like, say if you start a business, like basically starting a business, right? There's going to be challenges and like it's going to slowly build up, but it takes about 20 hours, right? Well, it's not even a 15-minute video. Like the recording is about 15 to 16 minutes, but I cut, right? I edit. So like I cut it and I cut it to like an 8-minute video, right? So already that of half the video, right? Of half my earnings. And because like I like to cut out the fluff, right? The editing takes, it's not, I wouldn't say it's necessary, but like I think with life, you got to build skills. And skills is that's basically what makes life like better. Like I'm trying to build a bunch of skills, profitable skills. Crypto's one of them. Editing and like, well, YouTube's like a foundation, right? YouTube's my foundation, and you cannot build a house on a weak foundation, right? And no one's gonna listen to you unless you provide value to someone's life. But back to the question, I edit, I put in like B-roll, and like I switched to like A-roll, which is my face, right? And like I'm gonna incorporate like more like my face because it's more authentic. And like there's a huge learning curve, and it's just like you've got crypto research, you've got scripting. I'm learning about like color theory, and like I'm doing sound design on my own editor. Sorry, I'm my own thumbnail designer. And like we're gonna do like title and hashtags, and it's like, and then I run my own Discord, which is it's really hard to do this like by yourself. But I go through this pretty much like what you see in this room. I'm here like 18, 20 hours a day. And like, I don't want to be here 20 hours a day. And like, I guess some people would compare me like, oh, someone else is making a video twice a day. Why are you not? And it's just like, well, I want to have like, quality over quantity. Like, I want to make a good video that you could like rewatch and like share it to like, oh, wow. And I feel like with YouTube, it's just like a platform where I'm trying to get to 100 videos. I think I'm at like 82. And what I'm trying to do is like, I'm trying to like improve a little bit um, along the way. And I'm focusing on progress. Rewind it, whatever. I don't know, scroll. Not perfection, right? Progress, not perfection. And it's going there. I'm getting to that 100 video mark. And then that will give me like enough information of like what I kind of want to do. But like I said, guys, with Samurai, I know he relates. It's a long process, but like I think it's worth it because I'm that type of person that is so satisfied. Afterwards I'm like, oh my god, it's all done now. And then like I still get that one guy is like, and that doesn't even watch the video, just comments like, yeah, but when are we going to $1? And I'm
Every video.
just just for some knob to be like, yeah, but $1 star rail. And then I don't know if you notice, like you just give them a thumbs up, like
thumbs up.
That's all you can do.
Who else has a question for Starro?
What do you think the price will get to by 2035? The most bullish case scenario possible. And we've already talked about Zebec, touching quadrillions of dollars. So what do you think the price will get to, in your opinion? Not financial
When's it
advice,
going to be
of
a dollar
course.
star rail?
Not financial advice.
I get that question more often than you think. Like the definition of insanity. Or is it like you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result? But like, I actually think right, we could get close to $1, and like, I'm gonna break
By
it down into,
2035.
By 2035?
Yeah, by 2035.
2035. Yeah, I'd say like maybe over $1. Like I said, I think $1 is a big win. We're all retired like way before that, right? I think maybe $1.50. We'll see, right? I think $1 is on the table, but you got to think of it like, say, I think I spoke to Samurai about this, but I think the $11 trillion in payroll in the US, right? If we get worst case scenario, we just get 1%. What's that like? Is it 110, 111? That 1% of $11 trillion. That I think that's close to $1. But But you got to think of it like this, right? Like I said with crypto, like we're a small speck of dust compared to like the stock market, and say with all the regulation, like the clarity, like we wash up all the bad actors of the exchanges and the market makers and the manipulation, and we slowly start turn to like the stock market, right? And you've got things like, not just payroll, you've got things like, global remittances with Stellar, and that stablecoin boom of, like, say if it goes to $1 trillion as well, that 3x's. And we're like, our main use case is like stablecoin payroll, and we get that super app, we get all these stable coins into that super app as well to increase that volume. Say what, like with the Stripe ecosystem of like 1.4 trillion, like opening it up with the Privy wallet. You got stuff like Zelle wants to make their own stable coin, and Zelle is not like a startup company. It's like it's a stable coin for like with the big banks like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, like Citi, like we get that. Talk about
ETFs as well.
oh yeah, get into that. DTCC, you want to tokenize, $100 trillion, and they settle quadrillions every single year. You can see kind of like the scale of where it can go, right? So like when I say, of course, like I want it to go as high as possible, right? I just think, right, does it need to be $1 to change your life? Because if anything, right, I know there's someone out there who like says in my comments, I'd like to know how much they hold, right? Like, what would someone do if they got into like 0.007, right? They don't need it to go to $1. So I think it's quite foolish with my experience, right? As round tripping's the thing, guys. If you've been on a roller coaster, you get all scared, and then you go up, and then you round trip down, and you just lose all your gains because psychologically, right? You're just thinking like, yeah, if it gets to $1, great. But why can't you like, take little profits on the way up, and then like you get your initial out way before that, and then if it goes to $1, cool, okay. And I say that with love, right? I know we want it to go to $1, but I think it's quite foolish to think like, all right, I'm only going to sell when it gets to $1. And then all the other people that got in way before you, because crypto is like the ocean, there's always a bigger fish. They don't need that to go to $1. I'm not saying it won't, because I think like with the crypto market maturing, we're going to slowly go into that stock market, and we've got, payroll, remittance, cross-border payments, tokenization of real-world assets as well. I could see like, what layer two got as high, because I've seen Shiba Inu, right? When people say how high we can go, they don't say that by accident. I've seen Shiba Inu go to 40 billion market cap. I've seen Cardano go from 3 cents to $3 with no smart contracts just by hype. I've seen Chainlink go to like $5 to, well, sorry, was it like 15 cents to like $50? I've seen Quant go to like $5 to $400. It is possible, guys. It is possible. And as that adoption comes, I do think maybe like we could go to over $1, okay? But I don't know if that answers your question, but I think over $1.
That was close enough. I've asked Grok before, and I know a lot of other people have, just by capturing like 15 or 10% of DTCC, the price could be like way higher than $10. I just wanted to see your opinion though, and you went very in depth, so thank you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, this was like before, because we all thought Zebec is just for payroll. But now like they're expanding into like other parts, and it's just like now we can kind of like speculate how high can it really go with like all the things it's trying to connect to. So like at first I was like, would it go to $1? But now like with all this adoption and like, like I said, slowly turn to the stock market, the ceiling is the limit. I do think $1 is on the table. $1.50.
Yeah, easily. And thank you for answering that.
Appreciate it, man. 314, what's the question you have for Crypto Star Rail?
Yeah, my question is as far as family. I asked Mr. Forsyth this question, and then it's like a real question. When you do content every day, people around you have to know what it is that you do. And in terms of conversations or whenever you talk to family about crypto, what's kind of the sentiment? What's the conversations like?
It's funny because like I spoke to Samurai about this, and like a friend told me this, and I call it the duck story. And basically, the story is that the duck wants to make a loaf of bread, and he goes to the neighbors, and no one wants to make the bread with him, right? So he goes back to his house, makes the bread, but now everyone wants a slice of the bread, right? They didn't want
They want
help,
to help.
but once it was delivered, that once he made it, like everyone wants a slice, and that's kind of like because when I first came to your podcast and did like the joke of saying like, yeah, I got no friends, there was a meaning to that like I cut out a lot of fake friends, and those are the type of conversations I have. Like no one believes in crypto, right? And like it's kind of the same with my family, but it's kind of weird because like um my first cryptos, right, are these two cryptos on the wall, right? My dad got into Bitcoin at 3K. He bought one Bitcoin and gifted me like 0.001 in like a sketchy wallet back then. But like I got into XRP, and it's funny because like I've actually helped my dad guess. I bought him a nano ledger, and I bought him some XRP as well because he got me the Bitcoin, right? And he's still holding XRP to this day in his ledger.
That's
And
awesome.
I got him a Tangem.
That's awesome.
And it's just like, it's weird because with the manipulation with going on, it's hard to kind of convince him like it's good. Like he wants to believe, but it's not. He's not going to believe it until I've made like tons and tons and tons of money, you know. So like I said, it's kind of linked to that duck story. Like until I've made it, it's like, well, I still support them because like, but it's a weird situation. Like it's because they don't get it. I guess people are like scared of like the unknown. Like they don't understand crypto. They just think, oh, YouTube, right? YouTube, we call it a DOS in the UK. Like you take it easy, but they don't see these sides. So I think if they saw like what I actually did, they would like support me. They support me, but it's a weird one. Like they're not gonna get it. You know, it doesn't matter how many times you tell them about it. Like it's another funny story because like I got my dad a Tangem as well because he can't figure out how to use his ledger without my intervention. Like that's why like I recommend I recommend Tangem because it's very simple and easy to use. And like I have loads of cold storages as well. I've pretty much got all of them, right? And like I've got like I got a Trezor, I got a One Key, and I've got my Ledger as well. Uh, and then I've got my Tangent, which is in my wallet. But it's just like it's a weird situation, you know. Like I've helped him, he's kind of helped me. I'm talking about my dad. Like my mom just doesn't get it, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. We're like the crazy ones in crypto. Like when we talk about something like the adoption, it's just like they don't see it until you've made it. So I just think you know with that sort of situation, I don't really speak about it too much because I like to keep it to myself. So
Yeah. Well, you come here and we pull it out of you. Any follow-up questions real quick? No? So, once again, I just want to thank Crypto Starro for joining us and answering those questions. Also, don't forget this Tangem wallet right here. This lovely Tangem wallet is going to be given away for free to a
Limited
lucky
edition, does not be made anymore.
Right. Only 500 of them were made. I have 4 of them that I bought. Make sure I point that out. They were not gifted to me. I bought them. But Zebec Nation podcast wants to give one of these away. I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're going to put out a post from Zebec Nation, and we're going to give you the details on how you can win that Tangem wallet. Also, next week, our next podcast, we're going to have Lindsay from Coastal Coffee Company on with us. Something Too Fierce on X, if you don't know who that is. But this is her brand of coffee, Coastal Coffee Company. She will be joining us next week to talk all about her journey in crypto as well. Super, super, super thankful for everyone joining us tonight, from 314 Crypto to Zebec Samurai and Throbby Lantern, and of course, Crypto Star Rail. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment below. But until next time, Zebec Nation out.
Turn it up. Zebec Nation.